I guess since I saw a chat, I should show up. I was just getting my stuff set. I don't know why it looks so blurry. Whatever. I just can't. I can't even with my lighting setup. Maybe make myself pasty white more. Okay, whatever. Hello, Rogue Phoenix. How are you? Welcome back. Buy a Peng strawberry kiwi. Yum. I'm gonna keep working on fishing tonight. It doesn't taste like strawberries or kiwi, by the way. You're here every stream, but it says you're returning chatter, so I wanted to say welcome back because it tells me that you've returned. So I wanted to say thank you. Is Rogue Phoenix, are you... Wait a minute. Is this Killboy, but your name is Rogue Phoenix? Is that what this is about? Did I just figure that one out? Because the bird is literally the same freaking bird. So dumb. So dumb. I am on a special level of obliviousness. I can't even believe myself. And I think I knew this before because you've been on Twitch for a long time. Like Rogue Phoenix has been there for a long time. It's been there longer than your Killboy account. I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. I can't even believe myself. Oh, thank you for that. I needed to have a laugh at my stupidity. Oof. Rogue Phoenix. Correct. I am dumb. Got it. Thank you for confirming my dumbness. I was, in the infantry in the Marines. So, there is that. It's legit. Since I was in the infantry, I by definition, brain cells were reduced overall. On Thursday, I go into the VA because I was in Iraq. There's a study they're doing to check out whether I have a brain. They're going to be sorely disappointed when they do their test. Hey, Mendoza, I saw you today. Hold on a second. You're haunting my code because I was working on something. What is it? Yeah, this is actually the one. Thank you, H Mendoza, for the tier 1 sub. And I was copy and pasting code, and I was like, oh, I can't copy and paste it. So, I want to make sure that you live here and not in every copy pasted version. So I'm like, oh yeah, there's Mendoza right here. Next thing you're gonna tell me is you're also Killboy. I'm going to find out like half of the people who come to my stream were actually aliases of Killboy's account. And this is why the last stream, when I said, oh, Rogue Phoenix Games and Killboy are like the same color. Oh my God, I'm so dumb. I'm so dumb. And I was like, oh, they're like the same color. And you're like, oh, really? And you were pretending Killboy. I can't even believe you. I'm still just having a kick out of that. Oh, man. Marine Corps Infantry, yeah. Actually, that is true. There's a lot of really high ASVAB scores in the infantry. I've seen a few of them. I encountered a few, but there's also like there are some people who bring the averages down for sure. I was literally just thinking of boot camp today, and in boot camp we had a guy named Johnson, and he was so inept that whenever they said Johnson, the entire platoon, like the boot camp platoon, had to yell "ball of fire." Smart kids want to learn to beat up their bullies. I guess so. But then they become the bully, and it's like a vicious cycle. So yeah, I just had like a boot camp flashback. I just remembered being in boot camp. I think it's because if ever like my son does, I think, what you consider typical behavior, especially of boys. I'm going to be sort of broadly stating this because I've only really known boys to do this behavior, where you say like, "Oh, you need to tie your shoe to go do something," or "You need to come," and what the child does is find a way to make that thing take as long as humanly possible, and pretend like they're struggling with it, when you know very well that they could get it done and move forward. And I've only ever seen that from males. Um, and in boot camp, Johnson was one of those kids. He would do things just slow and dumb. And he could have done it, but he like acted dumb because for some reason that gave him, he got more excuses to get out of things. I can't remember how that. Okay, so I'm trying to get this stupid thing to work. Why is this not doing what I want? Excuse me. Been very burpy lately. I might have to debug this unless I can figure out why it no working. I think it's because of this. What I need to do can't do this. Whoa, is that Laserburn? How are you, Laserburn? Thanks for the resub with your Twitch Prime. It's been a long time since we've talked. It's going well. Been a whole few days. Thank you, Laserburn. For the Twitch Prime sub. Only 2 months. You're so cool. I'm working and watching. You working on them voxels? Voxeling it up? Yeah, I was being lazy to get started, and then this person named Rogue Phoenix Game, so dumb, who is also the same as Killboy, said something like, "Oh, I'll pop in," and I just now, after all this time, finally learned who Rogue Phoenix Games is. Okay, so I need to figure out how to make this do what I want. I can't set this on every loop because of the way this process works. Now, where have I made this work? I think in like the window dialog mode. Maybe I did it in a different link. That's part of the problem. I did it as a node. Okay. So, if it helps me understand, nope, I get it. Thanks. Appreciate the added explanation. I think one of the problems that I'm facing, I can't remember where else I've done this. Let me go do this, see if I can find out where. I don't know if the music is too low now. So now I'm having a problem getting the phases to transition. So I think I know why. I also have a new rant topic. Although I already it's not really new because I've ranted about it before. Okay. So the thing is, I have to treat this like it's a node-based solution. The problem is this: I shouldn't even return a value here. That's the problem. That's why I'm failing here. Well, I need to return true, I guess. Open shop window. Yes. Oh, I see. Okay, hold on. This is what I need to do. Okay. I know what I'm doing wrong. Got it. Not that this is completely wrong. We're gonna move this to its own method. I knew I was doing something weird. Technically I could put it all in here, but I'm gonna do it in this. So I'm gonna do private void start casting. Now we're gonna get rid of all this. So in essence, the way that I've set up this pattern is there's this loop. This is always getting executed until it's ready to move on. And this is just the thing that starts whatever the process is. So instead of open window, I'm just going to say start casting. I do need to pass the script builder in here. Someday I'm going to be like, oh, I got to change all this code. I will be using some ChatGPT, and I've got some really good rants to make about development in the development world. And all I can say is, one of the things that I have assessed about life, which is not, I haven't, like I'm not, the only person who ever thought about it. My son's on Twitch too. He goes by Killboy Jr. Oh, does he stream? Or does he just watch? Now I gotta go find your son. Get all the dirt. Oh, there's no Killboy Jr. What? Killboy Gaming. Killboy Jr. 23. No, JF. I don't see Killboy Jr. on here. Killboy... Lil Boy. There's so many weird things. Oh, he's only 12. Okay, I see. All right, now there's a lot of process, so I'm scheduling time to research the algorithms and answer your voxel question. Oh, okay, got it. So, yeah, you're right. That's a smart move. I'm sure my daughter's gonna want to stream at some point. Get into that, but even worse for girls than for boys. So what I've noticed and I've read about is that effect in life where every generation looks at the upcoming generation or upcoming technologies, and there's always disparagement about every new iteration. So that you always find at some point someone will be like, back when I was your age, and they crap all over things that everyone is doing these days. And it's just, I guess it just must be the way of life or something. I have become that guy. It's real. It exists. People do it. And I find it so interesting because it happens in many walks of life. There was I can't remember where I saw this. I think it was some Reddit thing that showed a bunch of articles dating back hundreds of years when when you could track back to when articles were done, like even from the 1800s. And like every set of generations, you'd have someone writing about technological advancement as negative. You have someone writing about how printing presses are ruining the world because everyone's going to read now and they got their nose in the book. And then you had the radio, and radio is going to rot your brain because kids are just sitting by the radio. And then you had TV, and then you had video games, and then you have iPads and iPhones and all that stuff. It's like every single successive generation looks back at these technological thingies and how the youth use them and criticize the crap out of it and talk about how the world is ending and everything's getting worse. So it's amazing to watch that happen, because now I've reached the age where a lot of my friends are saying the same things. And it's nothing better. Like my buddy, Old Man Tom, who is my BFF in Minnesota. I've decided I've given him the title of BFF. And he's the same thing. He was doing the same thing, complaining about younger generations of developers. Yeah, but you were the younger person. And it's funny, like maybe it's just a rite of passage. That's how you know you've achieved maturity, is that you can look back and criticize the younger generation. And it's just so darn funny to me. So funny. Okay, so how did I do this with a shotgun? And like there's a relevancy point to what I'm stating, which is more specific to words, more specific to the AI technology and developers. I wish I wasn't part of Gen Z. I feel like an old man. Well, there are variations. From the millennial generation, I would be considered fairly elderly. I'm on the elderly range. Did you realize my music sounded weird because my headset wasn't plugged in properly? That's annoying. Why is my... Oh no, come back. I see the error. I'm trying to fix it right now. I accidentally opened RPG in a box, which the developer of the game, the engine, has been quiet for the last month and a half or something. It's insane. And so like I watch all these videos now where there are clearly very senior, older, experienced developers criticizing or claiming that the new technologies aren't great and they're not going to be great for development. And every one of them, I think, is steeped in a bias of what people want or what they expect. And it's like, well, I'm a hand coder, so I don't think people should use Copilot. I tell them to make a 2D platform and RPG in a box. I mean, why is this giving me a problem? Oh, I see, because it's just a return. Okay. So this should be okay. So that's, we do the runtime code. And then this will just loop around. And I'm pretty sure that's how this shop node works. It runs that, it makes it wait, result equals false. And then it'll just fall through. So just giving it a second to let the process happen. And then this will pause everything from executing. Justin been hard at work. I'm really excited to see how it turns out. Yeah, I just wish he would say things. And listen, I'm not doing any development in RPG in a Box right now, but like there's this notion, if you're going to have a community of people, that you gotta at least occasionally tell them what the frick is going on, right? Like, otherwise it looks like your project's abandoned. You gotta like, hey, yeah, things are coming along well. I'm, getting closer, whatever. Just words. Tell people what the flip is happening. That's it. That's all. One man's opinion. Kids these days, though, I'm pretty sure Justin's my age. I think I can get away with that. Okay, so I'm going to convert this thing to its own thing as well. I watched this video. I mean, again, it's good. I mean, I'm glad that I get to watch people like Primogen. Oh no, crap! I accidentally, excuse me, talk about ideas, but he was watching a video where people are saying that GitHub Copilot is making code worse. And this is from people as senior developers that use Vim. And I just have to say that if you're in the percentage of developers that use Vim, you don't have a general perspective of how developers are. I'm sorry. It is a strong statement, and I'm going to hold by it, that anyone who uses Vim as their IDE is probably not the person you want to go to for the strongest advice about programming. And it's not because they're probably freaking, they could code circles around me. It's because that's not what the majority of developers use. That's it. That's the reason. It's not because they're bad at what they do. It's because you're in the 1% or less of developers. Now I have to back up my assumption on this one. Let's see. What percentage of developers use Vim? Okay. Oh, this is interesting. More developers use Linux than Mac report shows. OMG Linux. Okay, hold on, just okay. Top most popular IDEs. So I guess 23% of people use Vim. Still, that's only 23%. Of course. This number right here, that number is what tells you that this number right here, these people don't know what the frick they're talking about. And I don't mean like, I'm not talking about the people who don't get on, like the people who are just quiet, they don't say anything, fine. But the people who get on YouTube or Twitch and they get up there and they're freaking spouting off about programming tools and they use Vim, and they're below the percentage of people who use Notepad. And Notepad++, this isn't against people that I know. Tom Sutton uses Notepad++. But Notepad++ is not an IDE. Not. I don't feel bad agreeing with you because I think John Carmack agreed with us. He's the only guy I need confirmation from. Notepad++ for the W. And it's not stating like, okay, using Notepad++, there's no problem. And I don't care if someone uses it as their primary development environment. But what I'm saying is there's, 54% of people, no, more than 50, sorry. Wait, these numbers don't add up. What do these percentages mean? 75%, 32%. We're already over 100%. What does that mean? Is it because they've combined Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code or something? No, because this article must be wrong because math. 48% say they use Windows. Okay. I don't understand how these numbers work. How does math work? You can't have more than 100%. They're probably a BS article, but I would say that the stack probably makes sense, right? That Vim's going to be a lower percentage. So anybody who uses Vim as their primary development tool and then gets on to a platform like YouTube or Twitch and then proceeds to tell you why developers are bad and why they have to be better. And part of their reasoning is you need to know how to hand code your shit using Vim. And I know that you don't have to hand code in Vim. You can have autocomplete. But I'm going to tell you that most of those developers are probably more hand coders. And they kind of sneer a little bit at code completion of some sort. They are not representative of the greater majority of people who code. So like I have a hard time taking their feedback on the state of development as accurate. JavaScript was high and low. Yeah, JavaScript is very common because it's very easy. There's a low barrier to entry. Like the thing I found funny about the video I watched, and like I do like Primogen. I think he's really smart, and he actually is he's much nicer about things than I'm being about people who use Vim. Like he's not like, okay, use whatever IDE you want, but the bias is skewed towards if you don't do certain things a certain way, you're not of a level, right? If you don't use Vim, you're not of a level. And one of the things that came out in this video I was watching was, well, only unexperienced programmers use Copilot. Only people who don't know how to write code use Copilot. It's kind of like, that's the simplified version of the argument, but that's the sort of subtext of it. If you use Copilot, it means you're not a very good developer. You can't just write code. And it's bullshit. Sorry, complete bullshit. Tools like ChatGPT and Copilot, when used correctly, are designed to help you iterate more quickly. And they were kind of like, he was watching this article that said why Copilot's bad, and it used examples in Git about like the prevalence of copy pasted code and all this stuff. And I was like, it's BS. All of your reasoning is BS. And the reason is simple. Even before AIs existed, everybody's code was bad. The existence of AI isn't going to make code worse. And I would argue it's going to make it demonstrably better. Not like, yeah, the metrics you use are going to look different, but I'm going to just say flat out that the broader scope of development and developers will improve, but what they produce will improve, not degrade. Because even before that, people were bad at coding. Everybody always, yeah, right. That was just like, it's hyper accelerated copy paste from Stack Overflow. And before that, it was whatever. Because at one point, oh man, I should be coding, but I want to rant about this for a second. At one point, Primogen made a point like, well, you know, these newer developers, these students, they're going to, you know, not get a good experience because they're not reading a book to learn their code. I'm like, I don't freaking read a book to learn how to code. I get examples of code and I try to work on it. Also, Primogen is of the belief that you write more code than you read, which is also, I believe, patently false. If you write more code than you read, unless you are a 10xer, you are a bad developer. I'm sorry. because it means you're not spending time to learn what things are doing. I apologize. There might be people here who believe they write more code than they read. So I'm generalizing. I'm hyper generalizing about people who have opinions related to the topic. If you hold this opinion, then, not, whatever. So anyway, there's so much of coding, even reading your own code to figure out what you're doing, that you can't say that you would write more. Maybe you could say 50-50, but I seriously doubt people write more code than they read on general. There's a lot more reading involved in understanding code. And I would argue that things like Copilot, which give you boilerplate code or give you working code that maybe has some issues, it doesn't hurt the process. If anything, it helps the process because it makes iteration faster. And the metric they were showing in that article, the video, was like, oh, well, there's more code that was just rewritten entirely. They called it churn, which means in the first 2 weeks of uploading code, you've changed it completely. And I think, yeah, that's iterating, baby. That's fine. And the thing is that these articles, this whole video and the video article that he was reading over, it didn't state whether the outcomes were worse from the functioning of the code. It only pointed at things that it complained about, saying these are indicators of bad, but they didn't correlate that to degraded outcomes in software product. And that's where I think the problem is. It's like, okay, you can point at all the metrics you want, but are the actual applications getting worse? And I don't think that's true. I don't think it will. Just like anything, like just like the whole thing about reading books and watching TV and all that stuff. To me, it's a reaction of old-timer developers who, they learned how to code the hard way and they know how to do everything from the top of their head. And the truly strong engineering mindset, which is not representative of the greater body of developers. It's just freaking not. And you can have developers that are really, really good at thinking through problems, but really bad at writing code. You don't want that person writing code, but if they had ChatGPT and Copilot, probably okay. Because Copilot will look at your code and it will generate templated code that somewhat matches what you've already written. So as long as they're working in a code base that has some fairly good standards and some strong developers, you're going to get better outcomes from the code because someone's relying on Copilot rather than them writing it themselves from scratch or from their head, right? Because we can't all be these geniuses that use Vim. And I'm not one of those geniuses either, but I wouldn't say that I'm a bad developer. I'm a slower developer in a number of things, and Copilot definitely helps me a ton, and ChatGPT helps me a ton. I'm totally ranting. If I said anything to offend you, sorry, because I didn't say it thinking about anybody I'm talking to right now. I said it thinking about the ethereal people I've encountered that have frustratingly, I would call it simplistic mindsets about what makes good and bad. I don't think there is one specific definition. To me, what makes developers bad is the unwillingness to grow. What makes a developer mediocre is not the quality of what they write, but the quality of their ability to grow and learn and change. Because no matter how good a developer is, the more they're stuck to the one way they do things, the shorter the runway they have over time. And those developers can have full careers and they can retire and be happy, but I would just argue that they're not going to get, they would never get very far in my world, because I would not move someone too far up if they're unwilling to grow and change. Growth mindset to me is one of the paramount foundations of development. You have to always be working on improving, and if you spurn technological advancements that clearly have some kind of benefit and you don't find a way to leverage that benefit, then you don't have a growth mindset. You're kind of fixed in whatever view you have of the world. I think I can go. That's what This has been a Monty rant. I'm either sorry, not sorry, or whatever, but I have ranted. And that's where it's at. I like these rants. Thanks, Mendoza. I think the interesting part to me is like I would take a young, energetic developer who has faults but willingness to learn over a senior developer who knows how to do a number of things but clearly won't get past whatever their current way of doing things. That every step for them is going to be a struggle because they have an unwillingness to think outside of what they've always known. But I would take that at any context, to be honest. The people that I have found, that I have helped, that I have also promoted quickly, are the ones that actively try to improve. And I don't mean like spending hours after work always trying. That is, I mean, that's an even bigger sign of strength. But I mean, just like, oh, okay, we have this idea we need to change. Let's change it. And it's really funny, actually, the team that I just came back to, they honestly do that so much that I have to slow them down. Because there is such thing as too much change, right? There is such thing as pushing things too far. Why is this not working? Ugh, so annoying. Is it because the number is never greater than or equal to 1? Because of Copilot. Well, listen. You know what started me on this thought process? You're right in some ways, right? Like I can understand the argument. I just don't see the problem. Like the argument that a brand new developer in the industry that uses Copilot and ChatGPT to write their code, they're going to write an abundance of code really quickly that they have no idea what it's doing. And because of the efficacy of those tools, they will make it work sooner than if they copy and pasted from Stack Overflow. So their skill level in writing code will develop more slowly unless they take the time to understand what they write, right? That, to me, is fine, honestly. But, like when people say that's the reason these tools are bad, that is a misunderstanding of the value of the tool. Because, frankly, sometimes you do just need somebody to churn out crappy code, but it works, right? And in fact, you end up getting to the same result faster if you had a junior dev who didn't use Copilot, and you can correct it sooner if you're managing them than if you had to wait, twice the time, 3 times the time, and then go back and try and correct it. And someone would argue, well, they're going to learn faster. No, they're not. They're going to the amount of time they're going to take to learn is going to be predicated on their ability to look at what they're doing and self-reflect. But in the same amount of time of learning, they will probably produce more using the AI tools. And what I was thinking, what I likened it to was when the technology of guns with, cartridges or even muskets, right? Or crossbows. Like when technology advanced from a bow, like bow and arrow, where it took years to train to be good at it, to a crossbow or to other weapons that use explosive powder, there was always this, oh, well, now you just don't have, yeah, true, except that you can just give people lots of guns. Sorry. I mean, that's the problem we have in America right now, is lots of guns. But it's true that, okay, you're right, the person with the bow and arrow is better than whatever, but the guns shoot farther, and it takes less time to train somebody to be good at it. Oh, well, then you're just cheapening it. No, you're not. Obviously, there are bullet sponges in the military, infantry. But then there's other layers on top of that. So it doesn't it gives the capability of a broader mass of people to get more done with less experience and capability. Yes, there'll be problems from it, but you know, shoot 'em up, bang bang, right? I don't know. It's not the best analogy, but I feel like there is some meat to that example. Okay, so progress is what we want. What is progress? Does progress ever get here? That's what I want to find out. If it never gets here, then it means that progress never gets where we need it to be. So I want to do. I think that it approaches 0 but never makes it there. I think the other thing is like a lot of these people who do like the pundits on programming, they're not chief technology officers. Listen, I'm not saying that like I'm an expert. No, but what I'm saying is their view of the world is from the pure engineering mindset. Like Primogen was doing this. He was watching Jonathan Blow, the guy who did a few games, Braid and The Witness, and I'm sure other ones. And like those are two really talented, smart, capable engineers. They are not managers of large groups of people. Just absolutely not. And in fact, Primogen works at Netflix. I'm certain that he works with a lot of like just super high powered, capable engineers. I'm sure there are some like less capable people in that group, but I'm sure he's also just used to having people who are like, you know, capable in general terms. Not everybody's perfect, but you know, where when you have to manage groups or build teams or build organizations and you have to slot in people you hire into a group and look at the function of that person and what they're able to produce and how they fit within the team. I think it's just a different perspective on how you create change and coach people into their roles. And I just think it's a whole different way of looking at it. And I've hired and managed a lot of people through a lot of things. Oh no, it does hit casting effect complete. So why is it not? Oh, it is working. Wait, it's doing the arrows. What? Oh. That's a good. I'm glad I caught that issue. This should not be interactable. Oh, that's great. Okay, so I have to make sure that those are not interactable because it should not be interactable. That's a good thing to catch. Okay, so we did hit the end. That's good. That means we do hit stop phase here. Is running is false. And then we set the slider active to false. I think it is happening. Another one here. There we go. So I'll hide that because then it'll help me know for sure that it was set to false. Apparently I need to get a background. Fishing, engage lines. So we'll turn the background on this one. We'll make it. I put gouage, fishing gouage lines. Yeah. So forget. How did I do it? How do I live without you? I want to know. How do I live without you? Hmm. Guess I could just move the background down. That'll probably be okay. Good. Anyway, I get a little animated about my rants, but that makes me not code. I feel like I should probably code what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be working on things, you know. Okay, so we did confirm that this hits is running is off. So first off, I want to see if there's any reason why is running would continue to be set through. So suppose I could do this. I could do, as much as I want to use that, I'm going to make a waiter. Make sure the casting is complete. Because this should be getting through all of these steps. The only other thing I could think of, oops, what did I do here? Added, and I could the right number of close brackets. Runner. I think I do this. What am I doing? What was it before? It was. Oh, no, that's what it is. Runner waiter equals. I'm missing a, yeah, I am missing a code. Okay, inside here. And to be fair to my rant, like, if you hadn't had to solve certain problems without having to solve it without like AI and stuff, you might not understand how to fix certain things, but I don't know how to fix a car. I guess that's actually an indictment of my statements. You know, people who grew up doing like mechanic work on their own car. Pretty legit. This waiter. Not wait. That's so this should go to the next node. And then start luring. Yeah, let's see if any of this stuff runs. I'm just gonna dance around for a second. Yeah, I think those are the boomers though. Generation X and above don't know how to do sheets. Well, to talk to some of them, you think they did know how to do everything. Right? The Gen Xers are taking over for the boomers right now. They certainly act like they know a bunch of stuff, but you're right. Like, I know a lot of Gen Xers, and while I wouldn't say universally they're not great at things, there are a certain number of them that I would claim are probably not great at things. I think the Gen Zers and the Gen A's are going to be really good at a lot of stuff. Us millennials are not the greatest either, for different reasons. Okay, so start luring is getting called every time. It's never finishing. Okay, so that's the problem. Why? It's going to be something stupid and obvious. Oh. Yeah, it is. Okay. It is stupid and obvious. Because the shotgun. I have to do this stupid mutex unlock. And if I don't do that, it never unlocks. This is the smile game builder stuff. This is okay. I should someday. I'm gonna look forward to maybe having time to revise how I want a game engine to work. Because this is not the best. This should get me to where I need to be. Although it's interesting that... Oh, I see, because the mutex never... I got it. This basically just tells it so that you know, like, it can't proceed on to the next thing until it's unlocked. What if that means I can move? I know. I really shouldn't have had caffeine tonight, but I was feeling some massive drain right before streaming. I guess because I went into the office today, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling the most awake. Where did it go? Well, there's your problem. What you doing down here, buddy? Wow, okay. Well, as long as I know the luring has started, right? Arguably, in this day and age, developers are going to have to get really good at reading code and solving problems. Like, how do I say this right? The fear is that developers won't learn how to code, right? I'm gonna argue. I'm gonna say, like, take the opposite position. My theory is the next generation of developers, and especially the ones that become the primogens, at some point, they're going to be freaking, they will run circles around anybody now who code. And it's not because of their writing ability, it's going to be because of their reading and problem solving ability. Because I'm going to tell you right now, since people are likely going to be relying on Copilot and ChatGPT, they're going to have to get freaking rock solid at reading comprehension of code. And they're going to have to learn how to process the stuff that they're reading and turn it into the result that they need. Freaking hands down, I guarantee you, this is a Motzi guarantee, that that's what's going to happen. They won't be hand coders by any means. If you put one of them in front of a Vim, a lot of them won't be able to do anything with it. If you put them in front of an IDE that just has basic autocomplete, they'll probably take longer to solve problems. But they're going to be freaking amazing at rapidly developing code, finding solutions, and solving problems. I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. I'm really scared of who's going to maintain all the COBOL and Fortran. You can get the AIs to do that. We don't like to acknowledge it's there, but it's an insane amount. No, people will do it. Where there's money, people will do it for sure. That's not even a problem. And that stuff's been around so long, the AIs can be trained on that stuff super easy, fairly inconvenient. And also, that 1% or 20% or whatever percent of people who refuse to use AI tools, that's never going away, ever, in the entire scope of existence. Until people stop having to write code, you will always have people that will use Vim, that will use a notepad, that won't use autocomplete, that refuse to use IDEs, that won't use Copilot. That there's going to be generation Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever, until we stop having to write code. There will be people who will do all that stuff and not use the fancy tool. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, because today there are people who refuse to use autocomplete. And when I was learning to code, there were a lot of people who were opposed to IDEs and autocomplete. When I was your age, people were yelling at me about using autocomplete. So yeah, I don't think that's not even like a blip on the radar. Not even close. Not even. Someone's gonna learn COBOL and Fortran. Some younger generation will pick up the torch and keep it going. 100%. There are still vinyl records. There's just like, I mean, that's not the best example, but like there's still things that people do that use what you would seemingly think are antiquated technology. And plenty of generations will grow up into doing that. Update distance slider dot value. This does not have to get renormalized because I'm pretty sure the slider is 0 to 100. Excuse me. I don't know if current distance is non-normalized. Don't change it. I hope so. I think there's already some good money in people that know those. I wonder if they will invest the money to rewrite them. They've tried to rewrite those systems in the past. At some point, yes. Someone is going to rewrite those things, or they're going to methodically chomp off pieces and use something different. Right? It's going to happen at some point, but the distance is going to be a while. I don't want 0. I want it's 0 to 100. I'm kind of debating whether I need to change this back to being just like afloat. But I've already made my bet on this one right now. I mean, I'm sure there are some systems that have already started converting. I mean, I know like Goldman Sachs is getting into the cloud, so but there might not even not be a need, right? Like, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that it's going to be a problem. There's plenty of runway to go. What does Fortran language look like? I know. Let's see. Can you give me some examples of Fortran and COBOL code? I mean, the AIs will be able to do this stuff, right? Program, factorial example, implicit, none. The language, sure. I bet you someone's going to do like a transpilation of it. Transpiler. Program ID, age check. Holy crap. In fact, with AI, I'm sure they can just keep developing in it forever because they'll be like, okay, well, I mean, I would posit to say that the younger generations growing up on the AI technologies will just be much better at dealing with multiple different languages and things. Why is it going down? What is going on? I just I don't know what's going on with this, but it is hilarious. Why are you going all over the place, thing? Is it the bobber trying to be a bobber? I don't, it's not changing vertical values though. It's changing the distance. I don't know. I gotta find out, but it's not changing. It's just changing the horizontal value. Why would it be? The bobber tool, like the... Let's see here. Right now, the handle... Why are you doing this? It's a bobber controller. It worked fine when we were messing with it before. I have a feeling that when I click on this... This is what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to move that way, right? Why is it? It's going up and down because the value being changed. It must be changing the anchor somewhere. It's... Hold on. I think it has to be with the bobber. I'm not sure why. We're only changing the distance values. Let me see what's happening to the I have a theory of what's going on, but I want to see what's happening to the slider value when we're messing. So right now what it's doing is bobbing. Because it's a bobber. If I take this and make it like initial bob magnitude of 1. See how it's going slower? It's definitely bobbing. Because now I set the bob magnitude to 0. It's not bobbing anymore. Those are some really big waves happening right now. So what's happening is it's changing the min-max anchor, which is causing a bob. And this is ChatGPT code, incidentally. If I change the bob frequency to like 0.5. Oh, where'd it go? What if I change it to like, change it back to 2? It's weird because I couldn't get the fucking the bobbing to work, and now it's totally bobbing everywhere. Okay. So for the moment, I'm gonna turn off the thing that's supposed to make it bob, just because that's getting in the way of me solving other problems. So current bob magnitude, we're just gonna comment that out. I don't care about that. And then we need to go to, where does it change the position? I gotta figure out where I change values here. Current bob magnitude, rotate the bobber into velocity, bob effect, Boba Fett, Bob effect. We'll just get rid of that. So that'll solve one problem. And then I noticed that it's not moving to the left like it's supposed to. So when we're holding down the decide button, we're subtracting from the value the real speed. Do I even have those values set somewhere? I don't even remember if I set that. It could be the rod doesn't have a real speed set, which is totally my fault. Fishing, carp. Basic rod. Yeah, it has no real speed. So that's the other problem, is the real speed needs to be set to an actual value. Pull strength also needs to be set to an actual value. Okay. On that was easy enough. I'd really like the bobber to have a little bit like it's in water. And maybe it doesn't need to happen, but I like the idea. So one of the pillars of our game is that the world feels somewhat alive. And I think whenever you put little touches like that, it makes it feel more alive. It's like you're really part of it. It's not just a flat 2D game. If I can make it feel right. If I can't make it feel right, I'm just not going to do it, It's all about feelings. Feelings, nothing more than feelings. Trying to forget those feelings of cold. Okay. Oop. There we go. So, this is the luring phase. maybe we can use ChatGPT and get ourselves some fishies. The pool is worse than the... Yeah, that's okay. I don't really care about that. So basically what we're going to do is we'll make it so that when it hits 0, you'll reset the cast or cancel, basically. Right? You do have to reel it in, but once you reel it in, you can decide whether you want to recast or not. Okay, but I don't want to do that right now. I want to do fishies. I want to work. Let's go back to the ChatGPT. The Chapati. Excuse me. I've been burping like crazy today. Sorry, not sorry. Just, Okay. I have the setup working with reeling and luring. No, with casting and luring. Now I'd like to work on the fish. The random fish. The fish area. Let me supply you with my updated classes for practice. Then we can start working on putting random fish below the luring hopper. See what it says. We need a fishing fish handle. We have a fish swimming controller. There we go. See what it says. I have no compunctions about using ChatGPT. If the merit of development is your ability to write code, and that's it, I would say that you're not really solving problems, you're just writing code. You're just a mechanic. You're like, you go to the mechanic shop, the mechanic fixes your car. I mean, there needs to be merit in also thinking through problems and figuring out how you want to solve a problem. And I don't think that's all related to just like your ability to output code by writing it from the top of your head. In fact, I think that gets in your way, arguably. Because now you've got to retain brain space to know all the things about the code. My brain's just not big enough for that. All right, so we're going to make a fishing controller. Determine next position, random range. We can just, I kind of wanted to see what this will do, right? I know it's not going to do what I want yet. I'm going to have to fine tune the way the behavior works. But I'm also totally okay with just copy and pasting this in right now. Look at that. You see, I found out that my IDE has a code cleanup that will actually fix all the things that I'm always manually fixing. And it's great. I'm so happy about it. Okay, so there's the Swish swimming controller. Integration with the luring. We have the spawn fish. I guess so. I mean, I could just put a bunch of fish in there. Let me see. As long as the fish are there. Update. Yeah, as long as the fish is there, they should just do things, right? I almost think I can just get away with just dropping a bunch of fish into that area. And then just showing it. So we're going to make so we have what? Gauge window. We have the casting strength slider, tension overlay. So what I need is to figure out what I'm doing. That's all I got to do. Just figure out what I'm doing. The better part about the whole development debate is, in the end, the people who are the most successful aren't necessarily the best developers from the strictest sense, because the people who are successful are the ones that just make a thing that people want. Doesn't matter how good their code is. It doesn't matter like whether they follow coding standards or they solve problems the greatest way. It's if what they produce has a good outcome. That is the funniest thing about it. They do not have to be great at what they do. They just have to produce results of some sort. Okay, so this is going to be the fish area, and I think I might actually make the fish area a little taller. At 48. And let's put a fish in there. Low par, low par. I know I don't have to be great, but I was born this way. Maybe he's born with it. Maybe it's low par panda. Okay, that's legitimately all I'm gonna do is just drop a heckin' fish in here. I'm gonna make a 32 by 32 box, put a fishy in there, and you know, YOLO town it, baby. Fish. What is it, like gauge fish? Fishing gauge fish. All right. That's all I'm gonna do. You're all I need. Now, what I'm also gonna do is I'll make this inactive, and then I'm gonna go to my luring, and I'm gonna give it the fishing area, so that it only shows that when the luring mode starts. We're going to do start phase, setup luring phase, sure. If sorry, not sorry. Had a fun experience today at work. I'm sure you'll all appreciate this. I went into the office. And I did it because I won't be there on Thursday when I told everyone. Listen to this. I told my entire team starting March, and actually I was going to do it starting this Thursday. We were all going to be going into the office for the month of March. And I wanted to do it as an experiment to see if there's any value to it. Because everyone needs to show up, otherwise we won't have an idea whether it has any value, right? But only on Thursdays, not every day of the week, just on Thursdays. And you know, some people were a little grumbly about it, but whatever. And then I promptly realized that not only last Thursday I couldn't go in, this Thursday I can't go in. I will be in the next 3 Thursdays, but then I will be out the last 2 Thursdays of March. Oops. You know what? That's what execs do, though, right? Am I right? Man, executives, they can be such jerk faces. This is my story, morning glory pa. Like Loparpa. Loparpa. Fishy, fishy. Whee! All right, there's the fish. Doesn't look very swimmy. Now, on the plus side, it rotated. But mostly it's just floating into oblivion. Probably not what we want out of the fish, right? I mean, maybe we do. We just want the fish to come. Don't fish for the fish. Just let it come to you. We'll call that a feature. All right. So it. Oh, I didn't define the swim bound. One of the problems. Bounds within which the fish can swim. Okay. So I want. Okay. I'd like the bounds to be automatically determined by bounds of the parents. Can you revise? So right now it's not going anywhere because it doesn't have any bounds, right? If I give it some bounds, I wonder if I go in here and even just give it some swim bounds, which would be, like 100 by 100 or something. And if I can just move it, where did you go? Oh, that's a Z position. Come here. Where'd you go? I want you back. Come back. No. Fishy. Come back, fish. Okay, well, there's the fish. Still doesn't know where it's going. Maybe I'll make it swim slower. Swim in reverse. Not very swimmy. Not really going. So the other problem is, of course, I'm using ChatGPT, but it's very likely not. It needs to determine. It can't just be a random next point, right? It's got to be somewhat linear and incremental movement. The revision uses Box Collider 2D. I don't know if I have a Box Collider 2D though. I think it's just. I guess I could make a collider. I'm a collider. It would probably be reasonable to define a collider in the fish area, right? I think that's reasonable. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I need to go back here. So we should, colliders are what you're supposed to use, especially if you want to contain something in a set of bounds. Did that get added to this though? Where's the? Yeah, okay, so it's there. It's on that line there. Is trigger? No. We don't care about composite. Fine. Okay, so we stick it in the collider, and I don't think we even need to the calculation of next position. So I think we might have to put a collider on our object as well. What if instead of knowing bounds at all, we just put collider on the use fish being inside of the collider. And then it needs to change direction after. This is how I talk to ChatGPT. Hey, what if we try this? What do you think about that? Because ChatGPT is not smart. Oh, this was the other thing about the video I was watching. Because there's one that was like, oh, there's these pitfalls, and you shouldn't just trust what it gives you. Like, yeah, listen. I've asked chief level architects for help solving problems, and they had no effing idea what to do. You're right. You don't just take what someone gives you and assume it's right. Of course it's not going to give you the right answer. I would argue ChatGPT is better at understanding what you're trying to do than half of the humans you talk to. Inside circle, I don't want to circle. Let's see. What is it saying? Direction, start, random dot inside unit circle normalized. Ooh, it's a normal circle. But why is this a circle? Is that even a thing? Inside unit circle? Because it's a lowercase. Using collider on the fish to detect when it hits a wall is a straightforward and effective way. The approach simplifies. See, it's always so agreeable. It's like, oh, you're right. Your new approach is much better than what I was thinking. But why is it using a circle? On trigger, enter 2D. Check if the fish has collided with the boundary. I don't know what it means by boundary. That doesn't make any sense. When we have a collider and we're inside a collider, it needs to disagree with me. It needs to be more disagreeable. Let's revise our thinking slightly. 1. I'm using a box collider. 2. The fish is inside the collider. We likely need to determine when it would trigger to be outside the collider. Right? 'Cause I think the code was like on trigger enter. On trigger exit, maybe? I need them to tell me it's garbage. You know what you could do though? You could advise it to be the devil's advocate. Right? You could prime ChatGPT to argue with you if you wanted to. Okay, whenever I make an idea and I say something, before you disagree with me, first consider whether it is a better approach or not, and then give me feedback on that and tell me if it's good or not. You know, if it's a bad idea, tell me. Right? Although it's still like it fights its own nature and is like tries to be too nice. But I think a lot of its core prompt makes it more docile. Yeah, I'm sure. It's supposed to be though, right? You can tell it to play a role for sure. The fish is inside the collider, likely to determine what the Oh, I see. It's just figuring out a random direction, I guess. 3. When it's moving, we want the fish in one direction for a little bit, then pause and keep in mind, we want to mimic actual fish movements. Fish don't just move in one direction. So they hit obstacle. They also have pauses. Movement. In addition, we want these fish to move left and right. If they move up, it needs to be gradually, and maybe up, and at least when as you rephrase your answer as if it were a know-it-all engineer. No, I don't. It's okay. I already have dealt with enough of those in my career. there's something about people who come in like they know all the right answers that drive me nuts. And there's a number of times that I know the right answers and I just wait and wait. Like I let the team sit there and debate. And it builds up inside me. I'm like, okay, I gotta let them talk. I've gotta let them talk. They've gotta think this through first. I can't always be the one. And then eventually I'm like, okay, guys, I'm gonna take over now. Because it's like we're not getting anywhere. I have to step in. Change direction, timer interval is floating. Change direction on trigger, exit 2D. Compare. Why is there a tag boundary though? Is that a bound? Okay. Oh, maybe boundary is a tag of colliders. That's probably what it is. It just, the way it was written was like there's just some tag on it or something. Is there? I'm gonna take their code that they just gave me because I think it'll be fine. Fine? Got like a hangnail. I'm trying to get off my... I should not chew my nails, by the way. Bad habit. Very bad habit. Is this compare tag part of colliders? That is. Okay, so... Can you clarify what your... Am I supposed to be adding a tag to the thing? Seems more like I should... Where tag is a code snippet collided named... Why though? The common practice you need to identify objects by their function. I don't want to add a tag to it. Okay. I don't think I need to add tag here. The behavior of this fish should simply be to stay within whatever bounds I give it. Oh, I think I know why. Because it's a layering issue, maybe? I suppose that in the context of... No, because the UI is in a different location. So it should be okay. Parent. So I should only be concerned with the collider and whether the fish. If a fish side of it, shouldn't just need the code to confirm the collider it's checking is on the parent of the fish. Let's see what it says. This is where it doesn't understand what I'm trying to say, right? And like, I could probably literally have just changed my code to do this, but I'm also just partially curious to see, because I'm not the best. Like, I haven't done a lot with colliders. Like, I want to see what it infers by my statement, because it should just be able to, on trigger exit, confirm that the... No, I don't want to do fucking check bounds. Bless America. Okay. I might have to end up writing my own code for this. So, but I mean, like, this is where ChatGPT falls apart. So my skill gap or knowledge gap is I don't really, but on trigger exit, this is the collider that we're exiting, right? So what I can do is I say if collider.gameObject equals gameObject dot. Did we do parent? Is there a way to get the parent? I think I have to get the transform. So I'm gonna I don't want to do this every time though. So what I'm gonna do is like private box collider 2D boundary collider, right? Thank you, Copilot. And then on start, actually I'm gonna do on await. I can just run this and it'll fix all my. Then we're gonna say. So now I can just check if the colliders match, right? So in fact, I can just use a collider, right? I can say equal this dot boundary collider. Boom. Right? Now this doesn't really like invert the direction when hitting a boundary. Okay, so that should be fine. I don't need a tag or some crap like that, right? I'm certain there's gonna be problems with this code, but I'm also totally fine with just messing around with it. I got this awful disease where I can't stop telling airport jokes. My doctor says it's terminal. And that went right over my head. Get it? My doctor also said I'm carrying a lot of baggage. And I said, well, that escalated quickly. I use escalators because, airports usually have escalators, but I guess it's not really specific airport. I'm sure like an airport, these jokes are taxing. Well, the fish is there. It's definitely going around. It's making its rounds. I forgot that I had to turn it off or whatever. And now it's just off on its own, doing a little dance, making a little love. Do a little dance, make a little fish, get down tonight. Stay in your bounds. Why are you escaping? No, stop. It's having trouble staying in its bounds. So the problem is it's escaping the bounds because it's not doing something to get back inside, right? Which is also fine. I need to make it move slower though, too. It says max swim speed, minimum swim speed. We'll make it like super slow. Like peekaboo. Alright. So definitely it moves too fast. Also, it appears to be stuck in kind of a rut here. And it's like rotating every which way from Sunday. That's good. I could make it a little smaller. So if I was going to do like have it, right? 15 and 16. The smaller little fish. I don't think I even added a collider on this. So you don't. Do you not have to add a collider on a? I feel like I need to have a collider on this guy, right? It, oh, maybe actually, maybe it does need a collider because if it doesn't have a collider, the on trigger whatever shouldn't trigger, right? So we'll give it a circle collider. It's the age of Aquarifish. Yeah, where's your circle? It's the circle of fish. I give it a mesh collider. That's probably okay. Circle. It doesn't have another collider on it. Why does it have another box? Actually, curious. Is this box not even at the right? What is the edge radius? Box collider 2D size. Okay, so the box collider also wasn't sized right. Isn't there a way to make a box collider be match the dimensions? Info. Do I literally have to like manually make it match the dimensions of my object? Seems silly. Auto tiling? What does that do? What are the kind of colliders we got? Polygon, sphere, custom, mesh. I don't want a mesh collider. I do want. I guess I don't know. It feels like there should be a way to make a collider just match the bounds of the object that it's in, but you know what? Whatever. That. All right. So now we have the collider hopefully set up in the right place. But I also want the fish to be more fishy. So first off, we're going to start the fish in a rotation. Which is it Z? Right. We'll start the fish out with... Oh, you know what? I wonder if the fact that I put a collider trigger gave it a collider. Is that how that happened? I don't have a collider in here. Oh, it does? Okay, hold on a second. No, I actually don't understand what that does. This should be the reference to the parents. Let me just I don't need to reload. Okay. So let's just see with the colliders what happens now. Be okay, maybe. Maybe not. Oh, of course I forgot. Okay, so are you gonna stay inside of this? It's definitely banging its head against the wall. That's good. Gonna escape. It's gonna escape. Oh, it escaped. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna add some. I'm gonna give it my logic back. Maybe it's because of the way the bounds check happens. On trigger exit 2D. Never mind. I made my own updates. Here below code. I need your help modifying behavior in the following ways. Again, I could figure out how to make. I want to make the fish move. Problem I have is that when it comes to this type of thing, I know for a fact that I'm not good at incrementing that solution until I get it to a certain point. And so the process of putting these ideas in place, I know that I'm not going to, like, ChatGPT is not going to solve my problem. But I do know that by going through this process, by the time I get to actually solving it with the code I've been given, I'll have a better idea of what I'm trying to accomplish and how to make it do things as necessary. Fish the way we eat needs to be managed differently. In general, fish do not swim super fast when they are just chilling. Hey, Kev. Hello, Dad. Thanks for making me feel old. Appreciate it. How are you? How goes your puzzle game? Random acts of madness. Do you know the funniest part though, Kev? Is I thought no, for sure nobody could fall for downloading that. And I found out that Tom Sutton did. And I get it because I almost got fooled, but I'm like, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like Kev. And so I started asking personal questions. And the person didn't respond. I'm for Clay. The fish rotation needs to stay mostly horizontal. Even if it moves up, it can tilt a little bit, but should only tilt up. But now we'll assume Paper Clay is going really good. That's good. How do you like without giving any numbers? Are your wish list looking good? Are you getting good traction? People playing your game. All the usual questions. If the fish goes outside of the bounds, then it needs to move back inside the bounds of the slider. Right now, if the fish escapes the bounds, it swims away. I think so. Got slow and steady weekly rate. I'm higher than I've ever been with any other game. Well, that is good. Congratulations. It takes a while. It's a lot of work, man. And it's hard to tell what's going to get people interested. We need more pauses for the fish. Should swim a little, pause, and move again. Usually, and Pauses need to be slightly more extended. Extended. 5. We should add a little bit of a wiggle when the fish is moving to simulate fish. Oh. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Here is the current code. Coding companion, baby. So what is next in the clay of papers? I should go look at yours. We'll do a new one, I think. What? It just this fucking stupid. Hold on a second. I did Control N to make a new. Oh, that's so dumb. Instead of making a new window, it makes a new Chat GPT. Oh, that's so stupid. That's dumb. I guess I don't lose that much. But... Kevin Anderson, maker of Hop Legs and Paper Clay. Hey, Fox Hollow. Look at this adorable game. I think if I open it, am I muted? I'm going to mute it just because I can't control for the sound. Actual gameplay footage and design work. So you like 3D. That's cool. Ooh, I like the effect. Someday I want to learn how those things work. It's so cute. And you got a little ducky. Do it all except the audio. Nate does that, yeah. Going slow and steady. Okay, hold on. Let me just put a link to your Twitter. Hey Monty, how's it going? Have you ever beat the grappling hook? No. And I actually tried, like near the end of the day, I tried to get myself to the point where I ended last time, so maybe I could play tonight, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I'll do it for Saturday. I'll try to get it prepared. Okay, let's see here. No, you're not using my freaking code. Oh, I see. Interesting. If boundary collider.bounds contains. Interesting. That's an interesting approach. Let's see what this does. Right now it's all throwaway code. I mean, I don't give a shit because I'm just trying to get it working. Sorry for the swearing. I'm just a Mr. Sweary face right now. Can you imagine those streamers that actually try not to swear? Oof. I tried that for a while. Sometimes, I mean, I usually do a pretty good job. I just feel like being a little bit more sweary face. In the meantime, you got people like Kevin Anderson who's got all these great effects. I'm just trying to get a little fish icon to move around on the screen. Which I've got maybe 15 to 20 minutes left before I should start getting ready for bed. But it is a work week. And there's lots of stuff going on. And we're still, because the fish behavior is still active, I should make it inactive. So we can make it work. All right. Boop. Fish. Hey, look at it wiggle. That fish has got plans. I'll tell you what. Let's make the fish move slower. Wiggle speed. Let's turn the wiggle speed down. Oh, that didn't help. Max wiggle angle. I kind of love the direction change interval. We make it higher. Will it change a lot more? Yeah, okay. If I make it like 1 or 0.5. Max swim speed 1. 0.2. Make it slower. Matzi, Nightfall, how are you? How goes your chess game? I know you're working on a cat game too, which sounds perfect, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, so now the fish is not staying horizontal, which is one part of a problem. So we need to have like a way to just push it into that direction. It looks like it's just like hanging by a thread. It's on the back burner for a while. Cat game is too perfect. Yeah. Okay, so let's see here. I think I should do, what I should probably do is set a default angle, right? Or you know, it could be because I like started it at 37. I wonder if I make this 0. Let's see. Swim direction. Wiggle. No, it's not changing it. Okay. Keep it mostly horizontal. You didn't do that though. I see the rotation that needs to be mostly. So let's just try start. Sid the cat. Hello to you too. How you doing, right, meow? Salmon had to say it. Cat game is good. How's it going? Well, things are a little fishy right now. Not gonna lie. Wiggle amount. So, okay. So I think one of the problems is there's a couple changes we need here. And I can actually, for the most part, because it's going to be stupid and not give me a good answer. For the most part, I can do this. Direction change interval will make that lower, I guess. Wiggle speed was too much. So we'll do 7. Max wiggle angle. 10 is fine. Okay, it's a little better. It's a little better, but we need the rotation to be maintained. I guess we could just maintain it, right? Different. Probably closer to a 45-degree direction, provided as default icon vertical. Vertical. It's vertical. So here's the current. I always give it the current code in case it can, infer that I have a freaking coding standard, which it doesn't seem to follow, but whatever. And then once I have it kind of roughly working, I'll be able to do some things. And what I can do here is I can just paste a bunch of fish. Okay. We'll just see what happens. We'll get fishy with it. I feel like what I should do every time I have like a something I'm working on is just color code it so I can find it. Much easier to see where I'm going when I have a couple lines here that show what's important. Key adjustment, direction change, wiggle effect, removal. Why'd you remove the? I still want the wiggle. I still want a little wiggle. Wait, does it still have a little wiggle? Does it use the wiggle amount? Oh. I don't see it wiggling with it. Oh, it does use wiggle. Okay. It uses a ternary operator, which is freaking, like Wallaber. Oh, hey, Wallaber. I didn't exactly know you were here, but I also kind of inferred that since I was looking at a ternary operator, you must have appeared. A wild Wallaber appeared. You joined at the perfect time because Nightfall has a cat thing and Sid the cat showed up. We've got a cat and we have a cat puns and we have fish puns. We also have the Wallabobber. I have replaced the Wallabobber in the real game, but the Wallabobber lives on as, the sample Wallabobber. I like how you say this is a happy face. There's like a noticeable frown. Oh, since Wallaber's here, I can make the Wallabobber the default. We have the Wallabobber. Whenever Wallaber shows up, we need that. Here it is. So we're gonna do. We'll change this to the Wallabobber. Okay. So we'll make sure that we always have the Wallabobber when Wallaber's here. Walliber could make it. That could be one of the fish we get. The Walliber. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there goes the fish swimming around perfectly, exactly like fish behave. And there's Wallaber looking at all his fish. It's clearly the perfect solution. I'm going to have to do a little bit of experimentation to find good fishy behaviors. My dad fished once. I can confirm that is in fact how fish behave. I look pretty excited to catch those fish. I can even reel you in. Look. This is me reeling you in. It didn't hide the tension overlay. I gotta make sure that gets hidden properly. I mean, I hope this is something that people will like once I've refined it. right? Like, the fish do need to move vertically. I'll get it so they kind of move up and down. I like the idea that if you're fishing, you can kind of see it. I don't want it to be a big thing where it like takes over the screen. And I don't want the fish to be this annoying. I just finished making a game in PowerPoint 2007. What? You got a video of this? Is it the game of life? I mean, I'm not gonna come up with how the fishing behavior is gonna work, because I'm gonna have to do some work. But at least, so the thing that I wanted to get accomplished was that it stays in the bounds. I could probably give it one more run on ChatGPT. They're not wiggling though, right? Not really. Unless there's something about the wiggle. Okay. Okay, few more adjustments. One, I still want wiggling to happen during movement. But it needs to be like a two. The overall rotation of the fish needs to stay. It's on itch. Well, yeah, but where's your send your link to itch? I'm not gonna go to itch.io. Give us the link to your game. The whole thing. Okay, so we'll go into the fish area. What are the rotation variants we want? We want 90. So it's got to be like between 100 and 60. Okay. But I don't even. Yeah, I guess. Okay. When the fish is left needs to be around 60, and when it faces right, it needs to be around negative 100. Okay. When the fish faces right or moves right, the image needs to flip. Four, we need to add a fish mostly stops moving time for a random five. We still want the fish to move up vertically in the space, but it needs to be gradual movement up. Main here is the current code. All right. Oh, what happened there? Sid the cat meow. The game requires PowerPoint. That's what? Oh, I don't even have PowerPoint, but that's great. So I don't even know how this game. You got any video of it being played? That's hilarious. So you scripted it using VB script, I assume? The VB script game. Okay, let's see if ChatGPT gives me something I can work with. I gotta make this. I don't care. I don't care about that bar right now. It's just visual fluff anyway. What did it do? So now now it's gone back to using trigger exit. Yeah, stupid. Why did you go back to using trigger exit? It's weird. Oh wait. Did I give it the current code? Maybe I gave it the code that had the trigger exit. No, it just had the boundary thing. I don't that's kind of strange. I don't know exactly why it would do it that way, but let's see what happens. YOLO. You know, easy come, easy go, right? I don't know why it would do this. There's no reason to switch from its previous method to this method, but just actions and animations. So do you have like keyboard input and stuff? That's crazy. PowerPoint 2007. Why did you choose that to make your game? Is it just for fun? Do you have other games that you've done? Let's see. Did the cat. Nope. Bad game. It was the only app I had. Okay. That's cool though. Make it with what you got, you know? Sid likes pain. Listen. Is it time for me to show you guys HyperCard? HyperCard was literally the first. Why am I getting this weird highlight? Weird. Why? HyperCard was the first tool. I don't know why this is giving me everything all highlighted. So weird. That I used for programming. And it was the thing. HyperTalk and the code and like I mean there's a game called Myst, little game called Myst that was made in HyperCard. Do you ever wonder why like part of my background involves you know like oh sure I'll just take some random framework that exists in some exported thing is because HyperCard. This is my first tool set. I didn't learn in C. I wasn't smart like Wallaber, learning coding in like hard languages. I used HyperCard and HyperTalk. On mouse up, ask, where are you going? Put it into the name. If the name is not empty, then answer head to and the name. Command key enhancer. What is this? I don't even know what that is. At one point, I was even making extensions for HyperCard. God, it brings back so many memories. Look at this. This was the tool set. And the first computer we had was actually color, but HyperCard did not have color and they never planned to add color to it. So there was like a whatchamacallit, a different app called SuperCard that had color, but it was expensive. It cost money. And still tons of people use HyperCard. So, Did I compile it? My first actual game was before that on Python with only AI to make a snake game for a different streamer. So you did use Python. You didn't just use PowerPoint to do your thing. That's cool. Let's see what happens to the fish. Now, there might be some settings I should have set for the fish, but you know what? We're fine. I said I had 20 minutes, 25 minutes ago. We're gonna have to add some randomization. I will say, this is better overall, the way the fish are moving. I'm less concerned about how the icons are facing yet. But the way they're randomizing their movement is pretty good. It's closer to what I was thinking a fish might be. I think I still want to like prevent vertical movement, and clearly using the collider approach is not ideal because the fish escape. So the collider approach is dumb. The previous example that didn't use the collider approach, or it used the collider but it used a different approach to it, is the better approach. This idea of like keep the fish within the boundaries without using a collider, that was way better. That was part of the update cycle. My fish ran away with a spoon. So yeah, I mean, going back to what I was saying earlier on about this whole ChatGPT and Copilot thing is, if I were a junior developer, if I was to think about myself as a junior developer, I honestly think I would have learned how to program better if I had ChatGPT. Make a trailer for the playthrough using Hypercam unregistered in Microsoft. You know what you could also do is get, well, yeah, I guess you could do that. I use a tool called Screen to GIF, which is also free. But I think you can turn it into video as well. Anyway, if I were to think of myself as a baby developer, I would say that I legitimately would have learned to program better if I had ChatGPT and Copilot. I truly believe this. Because one of the problems I faced as a developer is I always had questions, and finding the answer sucks. Because you know, like, what's the difference between having ChatGPT give you equivalent of what you find in Stack Overflow and having to find a bunch of different answers and partial answers and wrong answers? At least ChatGPT generally gives you some cohesive answers. I forget what I was changing. Oh, I was going to stay in the bounds. I think it was doing right. Of course, we need to randomize their placement and randomize the behavioral movement. Microsoft has a built-in one through snipping, but Hypercam is funnier. All right, Anderson, thanks for the lurk. I'm not Anderson, I mean Kev. I'm going to be wrapping up now, but you know, we're getting there. We've got casting. We've got the beginnings of the fishing behavior stuff, which I'll refine. But see how that one just randomly started moving? I kind of want that. Like, I'm going to want to make it so there'll be some more than just randomized movement based on the fish, based on your bait and the fish, right? And what I'll probably do is, like, I probably won't have the exact stock of fish showing, but it'll have some representative examples of fish, and then you'll have to try and like trick them in there, right? Because as cool as it might be to have all the different type of fishes, I really just want to have it for effect, right? So that like you can catch a fish, and then one of the fish will get interested and snag it, and then that becomes the fishing. I know I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be, I seriously hope that people enjoy it. I'm not even gonna say appreciate it. I want people to enjoy it. Planeta Calvo, hey, I looked at Bonfire Vid at X earlier today, and those lights look pretty cool. The Bonfire Vid, oh yeah. Thanks, Planeta. Let me see what. I have to go look at it because I wasn't the one posting it. You're talking about this? Yeah. You know how that was done? Pretty crazy. I just put a light. So basically in Smile Game Builder, you can't do lighting like this, at least not the before docking. But since it goes into Unity, what I did was I found the object that represented the fire, and I just dropped a light in it. And then the characters, we had our contractor help us with this. The textures on the characters have a shader that will respond to lighting. So you get sort of the feeling of, like if you look at some of these other games out there with a similar style, they do a lot, like a really thorough job of making it look high def with pixels and the lighting. But we're still trying to go for the classic pixel look. So it's like it's Chrono Trigger, but you got some lighting, which is a little different. Anyway, thanks for the feedback. Good choices. Sometimes they aren't hard to pull off. That's what makes them good. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the one that makes it look good, to be fair. It's my partner in crime who does that, and I just make it work. I figure out how to put the things in the place, and he'll make it look good. He'll set up the lighting and all that stuff. So, all good. Anyway, so I need to wrap up because I need to go to bed because it's, work night. And work nights mean I gotta work tomorrow. Because as much as I'd love to do full-time dev, just not a thing yet. Full-time dev on game dev, I mean. Ooh, we're gonna go see Mawiksi tonight. Yeah, Sid, thanks for stopping in and sharing your game. I appreciate it. Hopefully you are able to get some video of it. I can't wait to see. Fox Hollow, have a great night. Y'all just have a lovely time. Thanks again for hanging out. We'll be back on Saturday. Gonna keep working on the fishiness. Maybe at some point I'll go back to showing some of the battle stuff, but I want to get this fishing game through. So anyway, have a good night, y'all. Yeah, Planeta, whenever. I'll be here Saturday night. You guys have a good night. I'll see y'all around